Ms. Tara, we're going to show you guys basically my basic warm-up series. I do add things if there's something specific to the workout, if we're doing extra leg stuff, if we happen to be deadlifting, if there's a lot more, like say bench pressing for example, we'd add some rotator cuff warm-ups, but this is the basic warm-up, especially for a home-based workout. So we're going to have Tara start with the half cross-legged roll stretch. So on a mat is nice, carpet always works too. So it's basically half cross-legged, she's down on her elbow. And she's going to find some tension in her armpits before she rolls, reaches slightly forward, she's finger walking away, and she's going to rebuild that a couple times. The idea is to find armpit or lat tension and keep it as you roll forward. So you might feel in different places. Sometimes I feel it in my hip, but it should mostly be alongside that long stretch in her body. Okay, and she obviously is going to switch sides. She's got two of them. So elbow is pretty much right underneath the shoulder. So usually I'd go 3 to 4. Okay, and the next we're going to hit side trunk twist, or side lying trunk twist. So the idea is she's going to lay on her side, bottom leg goes straight, top knee goes up, and she's going to roll back and exhale. Now this little arm circle she does, I find that a lot easier. She's going to go about 4 to 5 of those. So sometimes you'll feel it in the hips, sometimes you'll feel it in the lower back, sometimes you'll feel it in the chest. It just depends where it's tight. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is going to pick apart which area is tight, and then she'll roll over. So again, bottom leg is straight, the top knee is up. She's going to exhale, roll back. You're going to find one side easier than the other. To me, this one looks easier on her. It's good to go back to the other side or just spend time on the other one if you find that it's tight. Okay, we're going to go into cat camel. So this is one of the ones from all fours. The idea is she's going to roll her spine, including her neck, up and down very slowly. You're usually going to find tension in the lower back, and you want to breathe this one out big time. So there's no real rep scheme. You can go as long as you want to. Generally, you're going to get a really good idea of when you've accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. So you'll notice the hips tuck under, and then the tailbone pushes out. That's a big part of it. And that's important because you need to be able to set yourself in things like lunging and squatting and deadlifting. Okay, she's going to go reach, roll, lift. So from the elbows. So she's going to reach out with her hands, roll her palms up, so just go slower to her. Reach, roll, lift. And you're trying to lift with the straightest elbow possible. This is kind of a jammed up tighter the shoulder. And it goes a very long way in trying to open up the shoulder. Okay, and a simple change, she's going to go back to her hands. We're going to go into Birddog. So this is a one arm opposite leg reach. You don't want to kick too hard. You're just trying to lengthen the body out. You can alternate sides if you want to, but generally speaking it's better to stay on one side. You're going to wobble a bit in the first few reps, and then she'll switch sides. So it gets the hips, the low back, the shoulder going. Okay, next she's going to go into a rocking downward dog stretch, so she'll go off the mat. Okay, so downward dog, you drop the heels, you push the butt back as far as you can. Hold it for a slight calf hamstring stretch, maybe your lower back, and then she's going to rock out of it. Stretches the abs, hip flexors, and then she's going to shoot back and hold the downward dog. So hold the downward dog in that position a lot longer, and then fire out of it. Again, there's no set rep scheme. If I had to pick, I'd say 4 to 5. Okay, next we're going to go into Groiners. So hands are close for the groiner. And she's basically going to go off of her back knee. Now, I like to have a flat foot. So notice her heels on the ground. And then she's going to bounce the hips up and down. As the name would suggest, it is a very deep groin stretch. Sometimes you'll feel a hip flexor on the back leg. Sometimes you're going to feel the hamstring. 5-6 times a side. And then she's going to go back on the mat, and we're going to go to fire hydrants, or backwards leg circles. So the important thing about a fire hydrant, her knees and her wrists have to line up. She's going to keep her arms locked out, raise one knee, reach back with it. One knee, reach back, so it's up, back, reset, up, back, reset. She's trying to keep her body as straight as she can. So you'll notice she's leaning on her right leg a little bit. Up, back, forward, up, back, forward. There's always one glute that's going to be stronger. So the whole point of this exercise is trying to iron that out. So I like to go a lot of reps with this one, somewhere around 8 to 10, make sure the glutes are really on fire. Okay, now that we've warmed that up, I want to fold the mat in half, and we're going to do a cheerleader hip flexor stretch. A bit more padding for the knee. So one knee goes forwards. Okay, she's going to lunge through her belly button, and then go up really tall with the arms, hence the cheerleader name. Rock the hips backwards, and then go back into that tension. You should feel it on the front of where her shorts are. Okay, and of course she would switch sides. I think this is her tighter side, so she could always spend more time on that one. The idea is to be tall. You want to have some curve in the lower back, but not excessive. It's excessive, you need to flex the butt a lot harder. Okay, just going to hold that. And then we're going to go back to laying on the mat for glute bridges. So it's a good idea to stretch the hip flexors before you do the glute bridge. I think you're going to get more out of it that way. So feet are flat. Try not to push only through the heels. Try to push through the whole foot. Never through just the toes or the calves. She's going to go up. With this glute bridge, she's trying to get her knees, her hips, and her shoulders to be in a straight line. You want to make sure that the hips are even so the left side doesn't shoot up more than the right, and that you don't excessively curve through the lower back. So you'll notice she kind of hollows out her stomach a little bit before she lifts. Then ensure she's not using the lower back so much. Show a double up. No, two leg. So up and then up a second time. Sometimes you have to teach the glutes to work that way. So the first up is hamstrings, the second up is a lot of glute, lower back. Try one leg glute bridge. Okay, so one leg is going up. This is way harder. Again, she can do double up if the glute is struggling. Okay, switch legs. So that one you don't need to go a lot, just enough to get it warmed up. Now that we've tortured the legs, you're going to lay on the stomach. We're going to go dynamic Blackburns. The name itself doesn't make any sense whatsoever, so I call it a swimmer. It's a slow motion for the shoulders. She's going to go palms up to palms down in the widest circle possible. The palms up to palm down brings the rotator cuff in. You want to go until you feel like your arms are going to fall off, which is somewhere around 12 to 15 reps. You need a lot of blood in the shoulders. So you can see all of the back and shoulder muscles getting a lot of work in that warm-up. And again, she's trying to reach out as far as possible with those fingertips. Okay, then she's going to stand up. And then the very last one that we're going to do is a, go down, let's go wrist stretch. Okay, so now with the wrist, if you're going to be spending a lot of time on the ground, generally speaking, our wrists are way too tight. So these are my two favorite wrist stretches. I like to go fingers towards the knees. You're going to feel the front of the wrist. Now, if it's too tight, she's going to move her hands back or her body towards her hands. So move your hands back. No, the other way. Yeah. So if it was too tight, she would do that. If she doesn't feel anything there, she can go back out. And then she's going to flip it over. And this is if you type a lot. You're going to feel the very front top part of the wrist. And she'll do that twice. So fingers towards again. There are other wrist stretches. These are just my two favorite. Okay, and then flip sides. Okay, and then she's going to get up. We're going to go wall slides next. So this is going to be the finisher. So you want to find a flat wall. Okay, now she's going to put her arms up as high as possible and a little bit out to the side. Okay, and then what she's going to do from there, slide the elbows down the wall. The entire idea behind this wall slide is as much of the body as possible is touching the wall. You want to squeeze those elbows down, even hold for a sec. It seems like the stupidest exercise is probably one of the hardest ones, and what it does is it activates posture. So when she's done, she's going to feel propped up. Warm enough?
Yeah.
All right.